there and welcome to the Drax Files Radio Hour with Joe Yardley. My name is Draxter Dupre. If you're just tuning into this show for the first time, I'm sorry, we're off. We're in the summer off time, and Joe is not with me, and we're doing reruns. But that doesn't mean you should go to another podcast. It means that you should stay on this podcast because we have a great show. We have a great rerun of an interview that I did with JayJay Zinfenwee from the University of Western Australia, who is doing a lot of curation in the machinima realm and also in the immersive art business, if you will. So we'll rerun this interview. Let me just say that, like I said last time, I have tons of interviews from the Silicon Valley Virtual Reality Conference and Expo 2015. I am swamped to the hilt, and I haven't gotten around to edit those interviews. They will be doled out over the course of the summer. So in order to keep up to date with what's happening in Second Life, of course, you read Inara's blog, you read Joe's blog. Joe is still blogging. She's not. She hasn't disappeared, so her blog is important. For VR, you should read Road to VR, obviously. It's a no-brainer. And I will be at Linelab next week presenting a Drax Files episode, the last one before the summer break in my video operation. Oh my God, so many breaks, but there will be fillers in between, so don't worry, there will be content. So I'll be at Linelab next Thursday premiering a video that I've been working on, and it will come out a day after that. This time Linelab will see it before you guys. I hope that nobody's angry about that. And then I'll be visiting Leap Motion head office, get some leaps, and then give them away through giveaways and all that kind of stuff. Meantime, you can support the show. You know how you can spread the word. That costs nothing. But you can also take out a voluntary subscription, and you can do a corporate sponsorship with a banner that is on the right side. Let us know if you'd like that. And also, please visit the sponsors. The sponsors are mentioned at the end of the show. We have two new sponsors, Feroge Magazine and Go Speed Racers Kona Stream, the best music in Second Life. That's the best music stream in Second Life. If you have a parcel, if you have an island, put the parcel media stream to that URL. It's on our website. All right, so without any further ado, here is the rerun of the conversation I had with JayJay Zinfenwee, and I left my original introduction tagged onto this interview, so here is the tape. Enjoy. JayJay Zinfenwee, curator of virtual art and machinima for the University of Western Australia. They've been present in Second Life since 2009. In real life, JayJay is the manager of the School of Physics. But for us Second Life residents, he's known for not only putting on this magnificent art challenges, but also for researching and writing about community in virtual worlds, especially communities of people with disabilities and chronic illness. Their Freedom Project, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, produced a book with art and stories by disabled folks, some of them telling very detailed stories, some of them letting their art speak for itself. I actually have that book right in front of me. In real life, JayJay sent me one, and on the back you have a few quotes from participants, such as, "In real life, I'm deaf. In Second Life, my disadvantage disappears. This is empowering. I have a voice in text and the freedom to do more." Most recently, JayJay worked with Freewee Ling on the Transcending Borders project, which you can also have as a coffee table book. JayJay talks about Freewee's story later in my interview, so let's go straight to it. I started the conversation by asking JayJay about his university's mission statement when it comes to their Second Life engagement. Here he is.
The mission statement basically is to look at virtual worlds through the lens of the 5 pillars of the University of Western Australia. And these are teaching, research, art, film, and architecture. So while it might seem to some that the challenges are kind of the main thing that we do, that isn't the case. The challenges is what gets the most publicity. So each film, in a sense, gets its own message going out, and that's one of the things we want to do. We want to promote the film, each of the creators.
You put out the word machinima community, make a film with this subject matter. The entries come in,
you give away prize money, and then as the entries come in, you promote these films by letting people know that they came in, and then at the very end you have winners. What are some of the topics that you chose in the past?
Well, the very first one we had was quite, UWA centric. It was show off the teaching, the film, the research, and the art and the architecture on the UWA Sims in Second Life. So, as you can imagine, that's a very exciting topic for an international filmmaker. Not, and the reason why we had it was because White Bed, she literally gave me $50 and said, JJ, you must run a film challenge, to show people what the university is doing, da da da, and allow the reach to go further and more people can see it. And I didn't know anything about film. I wasn't involved in the film world, but being kind of stubborn and determined, so I did it. And it was really hard, that first one, because, it almost was like asking for free publicity in a way, or because $50 is an insulting amount to have as a prize for machinima, and I didn't know that because I didn't know anything about how difficult it was to make.
I want to interject real quick because I think also that a lot of Second Lifers had a really kind of bad taste in their mouth of kind of being abused in that sense, because during the hype days I know a lot of stories of people who told me, big companies came in and they go like, wow, so all these people with nothing to do, I'm gonna tell these guys to create an entire interactive experience, and then I'm gonna charge Toyota $2 million and I have my slave labor on the ground.
That's right. But the thing is that I spent a lot of time with those filmmakers, at the time. So I launched the challenge with $50. All right. We asked them to make a film showing off the university. We needed this to break the barrier between RL and SL, or real life and Second Life, and we had an amazing response to that. We're really lucky. I asked the vice chancellor of the university to be a judge. I also asked the director of international students, and they were judges, and they had no experience Second Life before. I didn't want them to see anything. I want them to come into the judging and bang, show them, these amazing things. So they saw the films. The next day, I had $2,000 as prizes because I told them, look, UWA put nothing into this. I had someone from Russia give me $50, and this is what was produced, And the next day I had $2,000. And since then, we've been a lot freer with the topics. The second one was what's called the Art of the Artists Challenge. So we had the art competition, and what we thought we could do was to kind of marry the film and the art worlds. And we asked the filmmakers to come look at the artwork and pick any artwork or pick a number of artworks and weave a story around the artwork. So that was the second challenge.
I really have to applaud you, because this is so difficult. You really managed to marry these two worlds. It's a no-brainer when you look at it, but people haven't really done it to that extent before, because machinima is difficult to kind of translate the experiential aspect of Second Life into sort of this 2D medium. Just in terms of translating, it's amazing.
We had another Art of the Artist Challenge where we told the filmmakers again, look at all these artworks. These are the artworks that are the top top 30 artworks in the UWA Film Challenge. Create whatever story you want around the artworks. Then we had Seek Wisdom was the fifth film challenge. We had that theme of Seek Wisdom. The sixth was Reflections. And the most recent one, seventh, was Transcending Borders.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said earlier that the University of Western Australia, the mission statement encapsulates more than just promoting art and machinima. Let's go back through that. What do they want to do with virtual worlds?
No one really exactly knows. We're in this kind of embryonic stage still. Even though it's been a number of years, it's still quite embryonic, and it will grow, but we are in kind of the Wild West days, like the first 10, 15 years of TV, who actually could foresee where it would go in the future. And with us, we have the School of Law. What they did was they wanted a certain law concept and also it was to give students a little exercise to do. And so the way we used Second Life to do that was to create a film showing this concept of law, and so that was used in some law tutorials. The School of Anatomy, Human Biology, they recreated parts of the human body, lungs and heart and neurons and things like that, and they use it to show their students what the experience is going inside the body. School of Business, they have had joint classes with universities in other countries. The students at UWA were partnered up with students from a university in Switzerland, and they were given a task of going to the virtual city of Dublin in Second Life and doing a project over there. And in terms of research, I'm part of the Australian and New Zealand Virtual Worlds Working Group, and we meet every 2 weeks in Second Life. There are 50 plus universities from Australia and New Zealand that are part of this. Yeah, I mean, and we have for the last 4 years produced a joint journal paper at an academic conference for the last 3 or 4 years.
So you have this working group, you have research. Your school really uses Second Life in its day-to-day teaching business.
Well, it's not as if everyone in the university uses it. Who knows how much research goes on in any single university? There's thousands and thousands of research papers, being produced every year, and only a very small portion of the university community actually know about that research,
Let alone the public.
That's right. So when academics use Second Life, it is one or two academics in these universities struggling on their own, really, to use Second Life and using it as tools in their classes. And it's a misconception to say that, okay, we're using Second Life and this takes over everything. That's wrong. It's just the same as in university classes, you use video, you use PowerPoint, but it's not everything through PowerPoint. PowerPoint isn't everything. Video isn't everything. In Second Life isn't everything as well. So Second Life is a tool you use when it makes sense to convey a certain part of your teaching program.
I'm simply amazed at the kind of support that I'm hearing that you guys are getting, because in the United States, I don't want to make that blanket statement, but in my own experience, it is almost over for most of them. They have abandoned their efforts to make Second Life work within the university framework. All the efforts to make it easy for educators to utilize it have gone nowhere, primarily because it was rejected by, again, I have no data on it. It's my anecdotal observation that it was primarily rejected by the students, actually, and the handful of educators that were kind of gung-ho about it didn't get any traction. So what you're telling me, I'm getting the sense that it's might not be very widespread, or as you say, it might be on a case-by-case basis. It's nonetheless supported, and it's just an accepted tool in the toolbox.
Also, using it to teach students also isn't the only way that Second Life is useful in education. It's useful in research. I've been writing a few papers on communities of practice in virtual worlds. So community development through virtual worlds within the art community, community development within the film community, within the community of individuals who are disabled and who are chronically ill. So there's a lot of research and a lot of interest actually in how virtual worlds are able to develop and maintain and grow communities, allowing people who are geographically isolated, psychologically isolated sometimes, or who feel isolated in society, a lot of different ways universities can use Second Life, than just, teaching it and using it to teach in classes.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir. But still, the perception of Second Life, or the acceptance within the educational body of your university, because this does fascinate me, there is a very strong rejection by some. And I don't know where it comes from. My guess is always that it's possibly, it kind of looks like a game, so a game has nothing to do in a serious teaching situation. Give me the sense from from Australia?
If it's presented in the right way, it's always accepted. I do presentations on Second Life probably twice a month, to various groups. When people want to come on tours, school kids want to come on a tour to UWA, they want to see something, have a physical tour, etc. Quite often I'm invited to give, a 45-minute talk to them, about Second Life. And when it's presented in the right way, value is added. So, like, I never send a photograph, or I never send one video, or send an article or something to someone. I'll say, all right, no, when do you have time? I'll need about 45 minutes. Then I'll show you. I can't, people have heard about, hey, I heard that you did this. Can you show me? I said, no, I can't send you stuff. No, if you want, you come spend some time and I'll show you. So then when I take them through the evolution of how it's happening in teaching, in research, in architecture, in film, how we're able to connect the world, how we're able to, to assist individuals with disability and chronic illnesses, then they see the whole picture. And, like, I've been very successful when I do that. So, my involvement in Second Life has allowed me to fly to South Korea, to Spain. I've been invited to speak in Malaysia, in Sydney, in Melbourne, in countries around the world. I've crafted, kind of what I feel is an engaging presentation, which shows the whole range of things and all the positive stuff about virtual worlds. And I always start people by showing them something familiar, like these are visual anchors they need. I will never take them to a disco party or, some elven forest made by Soroni Nishi or something the first time they go into Second Life. I take them to see what they've walked past every day and say, oh, I know that space, and oh, there's an avatar walking around that space I was just walking by 10 minutes ago. So you get them started in that way. And so I have done surveys as well, of the people that have come to the presentations and things like that. And so I have about 400 surveys, 400 to 500 surveys. And 75% in the survey, they said that watching the virtual presentation of the university has increased their perception of the overall university. Probably 15% is the same. So there's no change after seeing it. Yeah, okay. And there's about 5% who had negative, thoughts after that. But overwhelmingly, when presented in the right way, it has had a very positive effect.
Australia used to be also, ABC television had an island. And what I observe from afar is that also I observe Germany closely, obviously. There's been a pullback in media coverage. Recently, you had some great media coverage, and I have to applaud you the way you presented it. Probably you got, as you indicate, you have a lot of practice presenting it, which is great. I presented here locally at the Rotary Club. I was very proud of me that I was also like, oh, look, you do it a million times, you get better at it.
Same here. I did the Rotary Club in Australia, in Perth. It was a Rotary Club as well, yeah. So
the Rotary Club, I think that's the new growth for Linden Lab, The media. My question is about the media coverage.
You've seen the coverage, and it was exceedingly positive. Yeah, it was on national radio, it was on TV, and we presented the Freedom Project. So like that's not an art. That wasn't a contest. It was an event to allow artists with disability and chronic illnesses to show how Second Life has given them freedom. And so, I think the coverage was profound. I was invited to a film festival called the Other Film Festival in Melbourne. So then the film festival people, that particular thing is one event where you don't even need to convince, RL people of its value. You see, oh, these are disabled individuals and people are chronically ill, they can't move and stuff. And now they're able to move and make friends and they're able to have international gatherings, etc. Oh yeah, of course it's something that's good and positive, Of course it's helping people. Like with that, you didn't even need to do anything and everyone understood.
It's very hard to put a loser angle on that one if you don't want to come across like a major. I can't swear on this show, but
We've had other positive publicity about the international reach that we have, about the collaboration that happens. Freewheeling, who I've worked with, who's been the curator of arts at UWA for the last 5 years, whom I have never met in real life, won an Australian Endeavour Executive Fellowship to fly here from the US and spend 4 months here. And she's just arrived 2 weeks ago. This is something quite incredible. Like she applied for the funding based on the body of work that she had done in Second Life.
That is fascinating. Explain a little bit who she is.
She's from Kentucky and she's the curator of arts at UWA in Second Life. Yeah, I would not have been able to run with the art challenges, especially. Like who wants to have their art placed by JayJay? Yeah, so she's an artist before I even logged on to Second Life for the first time. And in the first year of the challenge, I had someone else who was the curator, who did the actual placing of the prims to kind of set the environment nicely as to where they were, to kind of do the things which are needed to make sure that the art is shown off in the best light. So the first year, it was Quadrupop Lane. Quadrupop is someone who is based in Perth. She happened to be living in Perth, and that was really fantastic for me in the first year. Without her, the challenge would have failed.
So Free is from Kentucky, and she was awarded a fellowship to go to Australia to do what?
She was awarded the fellowship to come to the University of Western Australia. She had modeled many parts of the university, looking at photos and videos and things, and recreated the university in the Endeavour Fellowship application. She would have needed to show the collaboration that she had with someone in Australia before, and show that a number of years of collaboration, and also a proposal as to what she's going to accomplish in the 4 months here. And one of the things we're going to be looking at is to write a journal paper on communities through virtual worlds, on the development of the film and art community through virtual worlds.
This is amazing. So the awarding of that fellowship is based on a virtual collaboration. That's probably also a first, because normally you would have to be on the construction site, and she was on the construction site, on the virtual construction site.
She received a letter from the Australian Minister of Education, inviting her to come, which was remarkable. And I put that letter up I put that letter up on the blog.
Let's talk about the Freedom Project. It's an amazing project, and it resulted now also in something that we can touch, which you had sent me. Thank you so much. An amazing, call it coffee table book with amazing stories. What is the Freedom Project?
The Freedom Project, was an event where we asked artists and filmmakers who self-identified as having a disability or having a chronic illness to create an artwork or a film or a piece of writing to show what freedom meant to them through virtual worlds, and how virtual worlds have given them freedom. And we asked them if they were willing to share their own personal stories as to what happened with them. So, yeah, you'd see in the book, some people have, just a little bit, about themselves. Some people don't really have too much about themselves. And some people went into a lot of detail as to exactly what happened with them, at what point they realized, virtual worlds could help them, and how this has progressed with them. And, I think that was the beauty of the whole thing. We didn't, no one was forced to or put into a corner, where if they wanted to be part of it, they had to reveal more of themselves than they really wanted to. And that comes across beautifully, and you see people sharing of themselves willingly. It was sent to a number of organizations who help people with disabilities and chronic illnesses. And, it was meant to show people that, hey, look, here's another tool you can use to perhaps help some people whom, you couldn't help in other ways. Again, it comes back to the fact that Second Life is not a cure-all for everything. You can't use it for everything. It's not for everyone. Not everyone's not gonna appeal to everyone. Just like every single other thing in the world, not everything appeals to everyone.
Give me a few examples of the Freedom Project that stick out to you.
The one that stuck out probably the most was the story of Johnny Lane. He's from Salem, Missouri, and the story he shared was, I feel I was given my talent because of the abuse I had as a child. My mother broke my neck, a rib, leg bone, and I have nerve issues now and depression. And the Freedom Project, has helped me open up. It's making me, much happier, and I've never been this happy in a long time. The Freedom Project is making my dreams come true, being able to share my art. So that's something so profound. These words, and when I see that, then I realize I have made a difference to someone's life.
Yes, indeed.
And to a few other people's lives in a way which is not superficial.
No, it's quite profound.
We asked people to self-identify, and we didn't. If someone didn't want to share, we didn't say, "Oh no, you got to tell us, something. If not, we won't let you be part of this." It was if they felt, they self-identified, as having that, then, we were happy to have them be part of the project. And I think it's beautiful that in the book you have some, real life photos of people and some, Second Life photos of people.
We seem to have this backlash on the internet for a while now. I think with the advent of Facebook, I think it probably started where Mr. Zuckerberg convinced everyone we want to all be out there. And then there was a backlash that coincided also, of course, with trolling and griefing. And all of a sudden, anonymity is sort of this boogeyman. While I would maintain, and many in Second Life see this as a tremendous power over identity that we have. How do you, though, explain this to someone who comes to you and says, well, you don't know who anybody is. It's just a bunch of crazy people and there's no accountability like there is on Facebook or other places where you're the real you.
Now there's Facebook. Even though you put a photo there, you can put any photo there. People, do you believe that everyone on your friends list is who they say they are if they don't use a Second Life photo? Do you really believe that? No, I don't think that's true. So people portray themselves differently on the internet, in discussion forums, than they would in real life, So Second Life is the same. You get some who are willing to reveal more of their real life, and you have some who have constructed a self or a personality which is extremely distinct from what their RL self might be, but whom they are more comfortable with inside, Mentally, they are this person here, but because of societal pressures and stuff like that, they cannot portray who they really are in real life. So sometimes you get more reality from Second Life than you do in real life. And the key is to not try to judge other people and think, oh, are you being sincere with me? Are you not? Just accept people for what they want to portray to you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There are quite a number of people who are, for instance, they are born in a different gender, to what they are. Of course, some people can say, oh, they get an operation or something and change genders. But in many societies, many countries, that's not possible. Sometimes because of family, sometimes because of funding, of money, many people portray their true gender in Second Life. And they can't portray their true gender in real life, So this is one thing I have found. Many people, also we see with students, Professor Wade Halverson, who I work with, he's the one who uses Second Life for the School of Business. What he found was that students who come from cultures which are less direct, they are more shy and they're more reticent to speak out. Once they used their avatars, they were more willing to engage in the class and more engaged to speak and discuss things with the lecturers, because they had, they had another self whom they could kind of, in a sense, hide behind, but they felt a lot more brave. And so that was what his research showed.
That's a great example. And you yourself are really morphing. Do you feel you're morphing into a sociologist in a way with all your work on, intentional communities? And
it's quite incredible to me, because as I already told you, my involvement in Second Life has given me the opportunity to travel, where I wouldn't normally do. It gives me the chance to, while I'm doing the human resources paperwork for a new staff member coming to physics and giving an induction tour to a PhD student at UWA, 10 minutes later, I'm talking to Drax Despres, the famous machinimontographer, through Second Life, living in Europe. And 10 minutes later, I'm having a discussion with a French artist, and I'm also being griefed by a troll, in Second Life. So,
all in one afternoon.
So, that's right, all in one afternoon. So it kind of lends a richness to, the things that I'm doing. And, the university, they're aware of what I do and what's been going on. It's always brought positive name to the university, so they're happy for me to continue doing it, and that's the beauty of it. Yeah.
And that was JayJay Zinfenwee, very, very active, as always, in the realm of promoting machinima and immersive art through the University of Western Australia. Freewee Ling is in Australia right now. She's working with JayJay on the physical ground, if you will. Just a fascinating story. Just such good vibes are happening with those activities. And we're at the end of the show. I wanted to say goodbye, but now that I think about it, I just want to say one thing. If you have recently been upset about certain things that are happening with the perception of Second Life in the mainstream media, let me just say, I don't want to keep going on with this, but I think we as residents have the responsibility to push back against reporting that is not factual. And there are people in this community and sort of halfway outside of the community who are often liaisons to complete outside media. And some of these people, I'm not sure what their motivation is to regurgitate certain things that are simply exaggerated and not true, but they keep giving oxygen to a certain narrative. And I think that is really not okay. And to disguise this as sort of a duty as a journalist or investigative journalism is laughable, frankly. So I'm on the record saying that I'm not going to go further into this. I think we have the responsibility to correct and push back, and I hope that other people who are willing to speak to media, to speak to outside media about our community, about our world, that they are being given the chance to be connected to these outside journalists. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, bless your heart. Have a great weekend. Bye.
The Drax Files Radio Hour with Joe Yardley is a weekly production of Basic Drax Entertainment. The show is supported by Leap Motion, Stitcher, Fateware by Damien Fate, Giza Creations, Arrows Avatars, Maven Homes, Mad Bee Productions, Bot Girls Identity Circus, Ison, Caravel Design, Vika Creations, Humanoid Animations, Loki Elliott, Botanical, Death Row Designs, Fallen Gods Incorporated, What's Next, Abranimations, Blue Moon Enterprises, Avacon, and Landscapes Unlimited. Contact the show via Skype, Drax Files, Avatar, Drax Files, or email radio@draxfiles.com.